Port of Spain, March 1971, Queen's Park Oval was packed to the rafters. India was at the crease. A young batsman named Sunil Gavaskar, making his test debut, was settling in, and then something unusual happened. The ball dipped, drifted, and spun away like a ghost through midnight mist. Gavaskar stepped forward and missed. The bails scattered. The bowler turned on celebratory, composed. He wasn't tall, he didn't snarl, he didn't bowl fast. But in that moment, Inshan Ali, barely 21, had just announced himself to the cricketing world. So why, 50 years later, is his name barely a whisper in the story of West Indies cricket? I am your host, Robert Charles, and with me in studio is renowned historian Riza Abasali. And it's another episode of Caribbean Sports Gallery. And our guests, Shafiza Ali Motilal and Theo Coffey. Each week, this podcast explores the untold stories behind Caribbean sports, cricket, football, track, basketball, and beyond. From athlete profile to game-changing moments, cultural movements, economic impact, we dig into the varieties of victories, the controversies, and the legacy of sport in the islands. Whatever the episode, you are going to learn something you won't find anywhere else. Just trust us, Caribbean Sports Gallery. So, our host, Theo Coffey. Theo, welcome to Caribbean Sports Gallery. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. I am a Pristalian. I was born and grew up in Pristal Village, Cuba. And primary school age, around 6 or 7 years old, we have a teacher at the primary school, Zahir Baksh, the late Zahir Baksh, who decided to form a cricket team with his youngsters. I was one of them, Inshan, and about 6 or 7 other fellas. And we started cricket. So I started cricket around 6 or 7 years old. And from primary school, I went on to Presentation College Chabonas when I was around 11. And then my cricket career kicked off with playing for South Coast in the North-South game, which was a real important game in these days, in particular for the age groups. That was an unfortunate situation, is that Inshan and I grew up together and started our cricket together over the years. And that first game, I was playing for South and Inshan was playing for North. So that's how it, the rivalry has been that way from our youth days. I'm from down the road in Prisal and Inshan is from up the road. So we had this all the way, but we end up being very good teammates because Inshan is like a brother from another mother. And our cricket career went on. I dropped off from the scene for a number of years for various personal reasons, but got back onto the cricket scene when I came back from playing cricket with Paragon and Port of Spain for 5 years. And start back with Prisal. Inshan and I were having what we call a normal 9 in the morning, chatting on the roadside when a national selector, Hamza Mohammed, was passing. And Inshan hailed him out and he stopped. And Inshan said to him, "The best batsman in Trinidad sign up right here, and you don't have him on trials." Hamza's reply was, "We'll get him in the next trial." And that is history.
That is history.
That's where it started. So my career actually is Inshan's career. And I was called for trials on 95 because of Inshan. And I went on to make the national team in 96. And I played for 8 years on the national team.
Wonderful. Some history that we can dig up and delve into. But let's hear from our other guest, Shafiza Ali Motilal. Shafiza, welcome to Caribbean Sports Gallery.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about Shafiza and Inshan.
Well, we come from a family of 8 children. I am the eldest. Inshan was just 1 year younger than I was. So we grew up real close. very close. In fact, I was his partner in crime and always hiding, picking up for him. Any little things at home that went a little wrong, and Inshan was there. I was there to pick up for him, save him. So we were very, very close. And together with Theo was from the same village. And most of the time he would leave where he was living and come up the road by us and spend the whole day. And we used to be playing together, liming all over the place. Theo, you remember that? And then
You're letting out the secrets, go ahead.
So why do I feel that we're gonna find out some things a little more than cricket as this episode progresses?
Yes.
But you were saying something? Saying something more
yes, Theo happened to fall inside a pond with water, and he was actually flapping and moving, and he couldn't come out of the pool at this little pond. And Inshan got a stick, a long stick. I don't know where he picked it up from. He didn't panic. Rested on the right down and told Theo to hold on to it. And he did that, and he crept out of the water. And we were scared because we couldn't hide it. We hid it from his parents. But my mother had to know because we had to go home. He was all drenched. And we had to bathe him and Inshan clothes to put on, wait for his clothes to dry. And then he went home.
Plenty
So we were
history.
very close.
Plenty history to unfold. But this is Rispin and Steel Pan. It's a special edition of our series where cricket meets culture, identity, and forgotten genius. And in this case, a certain genius who we don't hear much about, but we're gonna find out a little bit as we travel to Presal, Trinidad, to rediscover a man who dared to defy the peace-fueled legacy of West Indies cricket. Inshan Ali bowled left-arm wrist-spin, a mysterious art often misunderstood, even featured in An Age of Robots holding Ghana and Croft. He spun against the tide. This is the story of talent, torment, and what happens when brilliance blooms in the wrong season. This is the story of Inshan Ali. And to help unfold and tell us as we dig into history, Riza, where are you, bro?
Good morning, Robert. Good morning, Shafiza. Salams, my great friend. You talk coffee, man. It's great to have you on Caribbean Sports Gallery. It's always an honor to see. I mean, the first time I'm seeing you, Shafiza, as you know, on face-to-face. But this is the lesson, and this is the story of an icon. Theo Coffee calls Inshan Ali the Wonder Kid. Theo?
Yes,
the Wonder Kid. And this is a remarkable journey, a short journey from 1949 to 1995. He had his battles with illness, but he has left a legacy. Just to tell you, Robert, Inshan's test career was April the 1st, 1971. West Indies versus India at Kensington Oval. And that was a huge celebration for the people of Presal. And of course, his sister, eldest sister, and of the family, Shafiza, and all, of course, the country. And then, of course, his last test was against Pakistan on April the 1st again. And Shafiza's all mentioned April the 1st twice. But let's look at this man's test career quickly. 12 tests, 34 wickets, an average of 47.4, best figures of 5 for 59. His first-class career is more promising. 90 matches, 1,341 runs, 328 wickets with a best of 8 for 58. I think when he went to England in 1973, he just played one test, but he bamboozled many English batsmen with his leg spin and googlies, as we say. This is the story of an icon, Inshan Ali.
Inshan Ali. So it starts in the sugarcane fields and coconut trees of Presal, a small Indo-Trinidadian village in central Trinidad. Here, cricket wasn't a sport, it was a religion. Boys bowled with softballs or clay, stumps were coconut branches, bats or anything they could find. I remember some of those days as a boy myself. And among them, a boy with an unusual grip and an unusual mind. He could turn the ball on concrete. Yes, he used to spin it from outside off to leg stump. Nobody couldn't bat against him. By 14, Inshan was already famous locally, not just for wickets, but for how he made batsmen look dazed out, dazed and lost. Coaches from Napariman Presentation College wanted him, but he didn't chase prestige. He bowled quietly, obsessively. His fingers spoke a language very few understood. March 1971, West Indies versus India in Barbados. Captain Gary Sobers took a risk. The young spinner from Trinidad was picked over seasoned, I said, yeah, seasoned bowlers, and in some cases, the pacers. Inshan took 5 wickets in that test. Gavaskar, Vishwanath, Engineer, they all fell. Not to speed, not to speed, not to bounce, but to deception, flight, revolution. Yet even then, the murmurs began. Is there room for spin in the West Indies team? And I think sometimes that you hear that murmur still. So let's delve in here. Let's see if we could get Reza's input and everybody else's input. In an era when West Indies cricket worship fast bowling, what do you think gave Inshan Ali the nerve, or even maybe the madness to double along with wrist spin? Reese, you want to delve in and dig up that a little bit for us?
Well, before I go into that, the story before his wrist spin and the deadly effect of his wrist spin. And the thing is that Inshan started at a young age, at 10 years old, really serious in cricket at Presal Government School. And I just wanted to touch on this with Shafiza because he started off as a pace bowler, from what my understanding is. But his sports masters, Zahir Baksh and Andy Ganterm, the former Trinidad and Tobago and West Indies opener, played only just one match in 1947. Shafiza, I just wanted, before I go to Theo on wrist spin, Shafiza, tell me about those young days, because I understand you also used to craft kites with his fingers and, pitch marbles. He carried barrels of water. Shafiza, just reflect on those some early days of Inshan, please.
Well, growing up at that time was very hard. We were very poor. So
Yes.
we had nothing really. We were just we had to do with whatever we had. And Inshan, being the eldest boy, he had some chores to do. He had to fill water a couple meters away from home to fill a barrel. He had to help my parents in the garden. He had little chores at home to do, seeing about, we used to have goats at the time. And he did all that. And the thing with the water is to come in the night. So he used to have to get up together with my parents, 2 o'clock in the morning, to fill this water. And I used to feel so sorry for him, and I was not allowed to go because he had to do it. And I felt sorry for him, and from then on, I had a very, very soft spot for Inshan in my life. And growing up, he was really an outdoor person. He liked to play outside. Right. He was hardly inside. He liked to pitch marbles. He liked to fly kites. He liked to play tag, whatever game, with the boys in the village, running all over the place, going down in the cane fields and so on, rambling through the cane fields and so on. But Inshan had a life that was not really comfortable, I would say, comfortable in inverted commas. But he had one dream, and he had a big dream. And this dream was to play cricket for the West Indies. And he used to tell us, he used to do commentary on himself, and he used to say, And in comes Inshan to bowl to Sobers. Sobers was his idol. And I said, Inshan, what is that you're saying? He said, one day you will hear that in the radio. And we laughed at him and we bypassed it because nobody in those days would think that a little boy from a little village, poor little boy who went to school bare feet, would end up playing cricket for the West Indies. And he was bent. He was bent on playing cricket. So on evenings when he got a little older, maybe around 10, he used to leave home at 4 in the evening, go down by the cricket ground and play with the senior players. When they were practicing, he would be there fielding the ball and all around them, you know, sometimes taking a little bat, a little bowl. And when he come home, he used to get, whenever he reached home, 6 in the evening, half 6, he used to be punished for that, for leaving and going to the ground. And that went on for a long time. But he didn't mind the punishment. He still went. He persevered, and he went. And we used to play cricket in the yard, you know, few of the neighbors and all that, the little boys. And Inshan used to bowl underhand, and we couldn't. He was always out and down the people. He getting everybody out, and we used to say, he is cheating. We didn't understand how he was doing that. He was bowling underhand, and the ball was swaying from right to left and from left to right. And so we thought he was cheating, but it wasn't that. It's when he started to play for the presale school and he had to bowl overarm. We realized he was somebody special. And Mr. Zahir Bash recognized that and sent him for coaching by Andy Gantum. And the schools used to pick their best players and send them for coaching. And Gantum saw him for the first time, and he said that Inshan reminded him of some spin bowler, I can't get the name right now, in Australia who used to bowl like that. So he told Inshan to switch from fast bowling, and start to bowl spin. And Inshan started to bowl spin, and he was a force to be reckoned with after. From there, Inshan never turned back. When he was in 1964, when he was just 14 years old, he made the Colts team, the South Colts team. Now that is an under-19 team, and he was the baby of that team. And he performed well there. And that same year, 1964, he was called for the Burman Cup trials, which was for adults. Because he performed well in the South Coast, he was called there. And he did get selected again at the age of 14 to represent the South and in the Burman Cup competition. I remembered him. He got 3 wickets in that match. And one of the wickets was that of West Indies and Trinidad opening batsman, Brian Davis. And when that happened, everybody they couldn't believe Inshan got that wicket because he was at the prime, Davis was at the prime of his prime at that time. In 1964 again, after that happened, Inshan was still in primary school, and a schoolboys team was selected to go to Grenada. Well, most of the boys came from secondary school. Richard D'Souza was the captain, and 2 primary school boys from Presal, Inshan and 1 Gaukaran Sukai was selected in that team that went to Grenada. And Inshan went there, he played 1 match. I think he got 3 wickets, but he soon contracted mumps and he had to abort the tour and come home. And I felt so sorry for him. I was really, it did hurt, it hurt a lot, you know, but there were other chances for him. So in 1964 again, with that year, that 1964 was a turning point in his life. In 1964 again, he was still, there was a sports day at the Presal Government School. He was 14 years again at that time. And Inshan won the Victor Durham Trophy. He won about 4 races, including cycling race, walking race, 100 meters flat. And so he was presented with the Victor Durham Trophy by Sir Frank Worrell, the captain of the West Indies team. I don't know how he ended up in Presal, but I remembered he was in Trinidad as a guest at the University of the West Indies, as they had some facility was named after him there. So he was here and he saw that. I have a picture of it somewhere. I can't find that picture, but I had one with him and the trophy. So Frank Worrell handed the trophy to him and spoke about Inshan and his career in cricket, and said that very soon we would be producing West Indies cricket.
Let me just pause a bit because we'll come back to you. I just want to ask Theo this. Theo, there's an interesting statistic that is coming out that Inshan was the sixth highest left arm wrist spin tally of 34 wickets in the all-time list of left arm spinners. From your perspective, Theo, what is this left arm Chinaman googly and why is it difficult for batsmen from your perspective and all other perspectives?
Yeah, well, it really has to be from mine because mine is difficult totally to
Yes.
Inshan was unique. Inshan was
Yes.
it is difficult, I think, for people to truly understand Inshan's method of bowling, and a lot of people are confused in trying to analyze it. But Inshan bowled so many different varieties of left arm spin.
Really?
I'm talking about unorthodox spin, not the and he bowled Chinaman and googlies and the regular off spin, as we call it. It is difficult for a lot of people because when you're bowling like Inshan did, if the palm of your hand is facing downwards, the ball will come in only. If the palm of your hand is facing upwards in delivery, it can go either way. Inshan is to bowl mostly with the palm of the hand facing upwards, and then the ball will go from leg to off or from off the leg. Sometimes I feel that he didn't even know which side to go in, but nevertheless, the fact is that he was so good. A particular incident came up before we played that North-South game in 1966. We were practicing together in Presal, both of us only. And he kept on bowling the off spin to me.
Right.
Then he flipped. And when he flipped, the ball, instead of going away, which I anticipated, it came back in.
Chinaman.
That's the Chinaman.
Yes.
And of course, I get bowled on. Being a little bit tricky about it, I didn't say anything to him, but you know. And now we are playing the North-South game, and Theo is having a really good inning. And I am on 60-odd runs, 65, I think, when Inshan flips. And I say, okay, I was waiting on that. And I came down the pitch a couple steps for the ball coming into me. That was the one going away. So obviously I got stopped by Tony Lewis. It is a marvel to see him when Inshan is bowling. I think he had major problems at the highest level with people who captained him, who couldn't understand his bowling and feel placing necessary to protect him. Except Joey Karu. Joey Karu was a master. And Joey understood Inshan like a team. Even which the point is that if you hit the ball back to Inshan when batting, Joe used to tell him leave it, because he didn't want Inshan hand to get no injury, no pain, or anything whatsoever. Inshan was something else, man. So it's the regular person or even coaches have great difficulty in understanding.
Yes, yes.
Yes,
How
so
about the man who met Sir Frank Worrell in 1964, and Theo Coffey relates the bamboozlement
the
of
Yes.
bamboo.
finale.
But after his test debut, Inshan became a test team ghost. Called in, dropped, recalled. Why? The West Indies were building their pace battery. Lance Gibbs, Bernard Julian, Van Burn. Hold up.
Yeah.
Why? But where did the mystery spinner fit? Some say he was a genius. Others call him a mystery who never quite delivered on his potential. Which Inshan do you believe in? The magician or the myth? Theo and
Yeah,
Reese.
to be honest, as I said earlier, people who were the leaders in captaincy for West Indies, it is my impression that they never fully understood Inshan and what he wanted. Inshan and I played together for a number of years when I was captain of our village team, and he never had a problem with my field placing.
Yes.
Wherever I put people to field, Inshan bowl. But basically, he's a bowl down everybody. So we didn't have much case for field placing about who field where. At the higher level, when you play for West Indies, it is obvious it's more difficult. You're meeting much better players representing the respective countries. But I think Inshan's problem and why he never realized his full potential is his leaders could not understand him fully. And hence, where runs were, as we say in cricket, leaking, it could have been prevented with something much more defensive to keep him into the game at all times, because he had to tempt. He was that kind of bowler. He had to tempt you and obviously offer you something in return to get something. And what happens when he offers and it's not protected, then he leaks a lot of runs. So he didn't get a chance, I think, fully at the highest level to realize the kind of potential we knew he had.
So, it is said that one time he struggled with form, confidence, perception. That is, at times he was seen as eccentric. He avoided media. He spoke softly. Let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll talk about why Queen's Park Oval turned into a carnival. March 1974, England and Trinidad. Queen's Park Oval roared like a carnival. Inshan was back, this time paired with Lance Gibbs. The pit spun, the crowd danced. Inshan took wickets. Amis Dennis Fletcher. Ah, boy. They couldn't pick him. The English were playing him off the back foot, missing by miles. But even then, he wasn't guaranteed the next match. A spinner could only perform. He couldn't convince. Then in the Shell Shield, Inshan dominated. He was the best bowler for Trinidad and Tobago. Between 1966 and 1980, he took 328 test wickets. He won matches on turning pitches across the Caribbean. But question here, guys. Why do you think Inshan Ali's name isn't mentioned in the same breath as Lance Gibbs, Ramadan, or even Narayan? Is it because of numbers or something deeper? Theo, Reese?
Things were much different when we were coming up. Some people even believe that we were born way before our time, but I don't agree with that. I think that God has a plan for all of us, and that was our time. People who understood Inshan, he was a marvel. He was unbelievably gifted, but never got the recognition as some of the others. For instance, Sunil Narayan now, came up at, we will say, the right time, because, you know, number one, the dollars are running. There's no doubt about it. It motivates because you are being paid to do something that you love. Okay, it would have been great when we were playing if there was an opportunity for us to get 1/10 of what these fellas are getting nowadays. You know, it might be more than 115 than 1/10. Anyway, but Inshan never got this sort of recognition that you will find some of the others, like the names that you have called, got. But I think if there's any, well, in my opinion, there is nothing ever better than him. But I might be a little bit biased on that. The fact,
It's all right.
I can't.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
But Inshan was exceptional.
Exception. Robert, may I intervene here?
Yeah, man, for sure.
Theo talk about, you know, lack of recognition, and, you know, captains couldn't appreciate his bowling, and, you know, but Shafiza, I know there is this part in Inshan's life. To me, it may not need to be mentioned, you know, the passing of his sons, and then, of course, his battle with illness. What was his mood like with these types of experiences he had to go through, Shafiza? Because it's important for people to know this.
Well, he was devastated with the death of his two sons.
Yes.
I don't think he ever got over that. And once more again, you know, he tried to put it behind his back. One was 4 months old and one was 2 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, 2 babies.
Yes.
And he couldn't get it over. So he started to delve more into his cricket. And that year, he broke the Shell Shield record, getting 28 wickets. And when he was looking forward to tour India,
Yes.
he was bypassed by the selectors, and Arthur Barrett was chosen instead of him.
Yes.
And for the likes of Inshan, he couldn't understand. So he thought that the world was against him. Everybody was against him. The death of his two sons, not getting selected to go to India. He really wanted to go to India because he had played with the Indians here, made friends with Gavaskar. In fact, when they were down here, he invited them home by us in our modest little home. He invited them for dinner one evening, Gavaskar, Vishwanath, Gigi Boy, and the Mankad were the 4. So he was very close to them, and he really wanted to go India. And I think that is what broke him.
Wow.
But stories that we have never heard before.
Wow. And Reese, that's why it's called Caribbean Sports Gallery. And that's why we delve into history. Because we have heard some stuff today, and no doubt sometime in the near future we will hear some more about the life, the legacy of a very great player. But today his style lives on in Kuldeep Yadav, Tabriz Shamsi, Nur Ahmad. These modern Chinaman bowlers would adapt to pioneers like Inshan. And in Trinidad and Tobago, Rispin is returning slowly but surely. Inshan Ali didn't change the system, but he cracked it just a little. Enough for the next spinner to squeeze through. And Reese, it's about wrap-up time. You know, and this we could continue to talk for the next 2 hours because a lot have not been said, and there is so much more to be said. Because, you know, I've heard so many stories that batsmen couldn't pick him in the nets, not even his teammates. Do you have any first-hand accounts of folklore that proves how unreadable he really was?
Oh, the stories are all there. I mean, Theo, talk about it. Shafiza gave the background. He was a genius, really. And, you know, and Theo could attest to this. He bamboozled Lawrence Rowe, Gary Sobers. Viv Richards at times, you know, but he was at ease, playing against his top batsmen. And Shafiza mentioned how disappointed he was after taking 28 wickets at the 1974 regional series, 28 wickets, 13 against Jamaica, and was not picked to go to India. And that really, of course, I mean, really was a sorrowful and sad experience for him. So he had a lot of disappointments during his short career. And Shafiza itemizes his test matches here: India, New Zealand, Australia at home, England in England, England at home, Australia in Australia, Pakistan at home. And his last test was in April 1st, 1977. A grandmaster, indeed, of the art of leg spin bowling. And I just want to ask Theo. Theo was there at his pastor's funeral. Was it June 25th, 1995, Theo?
Yes.
You delivered the eulogy.
Yes.
Just give me a few words from that eulogy, Theo Coffey.
Amazing. I mean, it was I know I anticipated, but we were hoping against hope that there could be a turnaround in his health.
Yes.
But it deteriorated day after day after day. And our families are very, very close. So when he passed, his sister called, Shafiza called, and she didn't have to say a word. She just was on the phone, and I knew I've lost my brother. But we had so many fights as brothers growing up and make up afterwards. It's unbelievable. We had the normal north-south Bisal village fights and quarrels and then make up back and everything else. But Inshan and I were very close. We toured Canada. I don't remember the year. We toured Canada and we played in Winnipeg a few games, about 3 or 4 games. And then in the 5th game, they combined a Winnipeg team to play against us, which was the strongest team. In the second over of the game, Inshan was feeling that slip of a Desmond Batiste. And somebody edged, and Inshan attempted to catch and got a really nasty blow to the left hand and had to leave the field. Now, Canada is cold and you have to put ice on it, so you can imagine how Inshan was. Anyway, after a couple of overs again, he came back on the field and took the ball and bowled out, got 6 wickets in a jiffy, and we bowled them out for 67 runs.
Wow.
So it was our turn to bat, and when we started batting, I look around as captain, I say, hey, where's Inshan? They say, Inshan just walk out. He say, if all you can't make that, that's all your business. But that is the character I'm talking about, that he knew his ability was exceptional. And I look at people batting, feeling that slip to him bowling, and they couldn't understand which direction this ball was going. I've seen people go to the leg and the ball is in the off, and they go to the off and the ball is to the leg. I've seen 1 or 2 wicket keepers that we had who remain motionless behind the wicket because they can't tell which way the ball is going either. So it was amazing. We were playing Barbados in the Oval once, and Collis King walked in. Collis King, this dangerous batsman. The first ball he hit, Inshan bowled in, he hit it over mid-wicket for 6. And the second ball bowled in, he hit it over long off for 4. And the third ball bowled in, he edged, he was caught by T-Rod slip. He didn't know which way it was going, so he was just going through it. He just couldn't control when you're batting against him because he was that good. It's unfortunate that he passed so early in his life. It was unfortunate that we didn't get the opportunity for him to pass on some of what he had to more of the younger Trinidad and Tobago players. It's unfortunate. But for the period of time he was there with us, it was a marvel to play with him. We had so many enjoyable times. I'm sure that even today, whenever his name is mentioned, it just brings back, like it's happening to me right now, one or two little drips in the eyes coming out, but then that's part of life. Yeah, Inshan, man, the best that I have ever seen. I have not seen another spin bowler like that. We had two great ones in Prisal, Inshan Ali and Ranji Nanan. And it's difficult to really separate, but Inshan was number one.
So, well, I remember Ranji, that name Ranji Nanan, a whole lot. Was one of the names that a lot of us who were younger at the time would remember. So maybe sometime in the very near future we can bring back Theo and we
Yeah,
can talk about Ranji, and I'll get in a little more of the history, great history. As we wrap up today's episode, we say thank you, Reese. We say thank you to our guest today. And to our viewers, we say, hey, don't forget, like us or don't like us, but we want you to subscribe, share as we continue to bring you what's taking place in the Caribbean right here on Caribbean Sports Gallery.
Thank you, Shafiza.
thank you.